Hello, welcome back to The Freed Mind. It's Dr. Beth Wilson here. And today I'm going to bring some information, just a little educational video on mental illness and also some statistics about mental illness in educators. These signs and the things I'm going to discuss are definitely things we can see in anybody and everybody that we come into contact with. But specifically, some of the research I did was related to those in the education system. So one of the things, well, there's three things that were very alarming to me when doing this research is the fact that educators are 3 times more likely than any other adult to suffer from mental illness. 63% of educators suffer from mental illness, and that educators are the least likely of any working group to seek mental health treatment. Those 3 things are very alarming. I know some of you may start watching this and think, oh, I'm just going to move on because I'm not in the education system or I'm not an educator. But we all probably know somebody who is, whether it be your child's teacher, someone you go to church with, someone that you are in a group with, or just someone within your community. The education system within each community is usually one of the largest workforces that we have in our communities as well. So we tend to run into people that are in that education system. But like I said, for any of us, even if we're not in the education system, this information will be useful, and it's important for all of us to recognize, because as a people group, we do have a responsibility to help those around us and to encourage those around us. And I'm hoping from this, when you start seeing some of those signs, and I could give you ways that you might be able to intervene in those moments, that you'll really take those to heart and put them to action. So there's going to be 4 different levels that I'm going to educate you on today. And we're going to start with the meltdown. First, I'll start off with saying that at this meltdown level, though it's very common, my goal and my hope would always be that someone seeks help at this stage, because this will help prevent us from getting any further down this timeline of mental illness and what this could look like. So meltdowns are common. Like I said, it's stress. It's those daily irritations, those things that cause us to become irritable, maybe to have some outbursts, but they don't last long. They might be just a few minutes in the morning when you're getting the kids ready for school or something like that. And after that, you're good. But they sometimes, when they start happening more often and when we get stuck in a negative mindset, then it can become a problem. As a friend or a colleague of someone who you see maybe being a little bit more irritable or maybe struggling in this sense with having a meltdown, it's a good time just to ask some questions or let them know that you've recognized a little bit of a change. Have some dialogue with them and make sure they're not needing to talk to you about something or go seek more help. What happens if from a meltdown someone does not get help is it'll start to get you to that next level, which is a breakdown. And this is when that irritability, those emotional outbursts tend to last longer. They don't dissipate as quickly. So there's a lot more concern. More people are going to notice. Students in a classroom would notice. People on your staff may notice. Those you work with may notice. So when we see that in individuals, that's definitely where we want to ask more questions. We want to try to be transparent about what we're recognizing in them and not be avoidant of it, because this could be the time when they think to themselves, wow, people see this in me. This isn't just how I'm feeling, it's what people are able to observe. So now what should I do about this? I know I'm not trying to put a burden on any of us within the general population to feel like you have to be a counselor and talk someone through the issues and the struggles that they're going through. But I do want us all to take a little bit of responsibility in helping others and encouraging them to get that professional help that they might need if it's not something that you are able to help them with at that time. So when we have this step, when we're in a meltdown and things seem to be lasting longer and people aren't able to cope with things like they used to, that's definitely what I would suggest, that they get some professional help. You may not have recommendations, but I'm sure through the workplace or others you may know, Google, you can find some recommendations for them to get that help. If people don't get that help, then we start leading to a mental health crisis. When we're in a crisis, it's not immediate danger, it's not life-threatening, but it's definitely someone where these emotional outbursts, they're not able to control at all. They may start taking some more time off of work. They're not getting things done. Most everyone around them is going to notice it at this point. And they're struggling with self-care a lot of times. So when someone they used to go to the gym before work, 3 times a week, and now they're not going at all. You notice that their hair's up a lot and it's looking a little greasy. Maybe, are they not taking care of themselves? Weight gain, things they're eating. There's a lot of different signs for self-care. But at this point, it definitely brings up a point of concern. So we want to ask more open-ended questions. I've noticed a change in you. What's going on? Rather than yes or no questions, because it's easy to get out of a yes or no question and for you just to count it as, hey, I asked the question and I'm going to move on. So from a crisis, if help is not received, we move into that mental health emergency. And a mental health emergency means that person is in immediate danger of hurting themselves or somebody else, and you don't want to leave them alone. Even if you're not professionally trained, you don't want to leave them alone. So you want to make sure at this point, if someone's talking about hurting themselves or have a plan of hurting themselves, some signs prior to that, if them discussing a plan, could be them making amends with people or them sending those emails or text messages telling all those close to them how awesome they've been and thanking them for their friendships or for being great parents. Those are signs of something's going on, especially if you see deteriorations in other areas such as the self-care, like we mentioned, with weight gain or weight loss, the irritability, the emotional outbursts, all that stuff still stays in play for an emergency. But then the severity of it is that they're at risk of hurting themselves or somebody else. And when getting in touch with somebody, if it's a colleague, if it's someone that at your church or someone that you may barely know, but you hear them talking about this at work in the break room maybe, you want to stay with them. You go to someone else higher up within the office or the school, wherever you are, and make sure you could get in touch with an emergency contact or have somebody who could take them to the emergency room to get help immediately. I know a lot of times people feel like they're stepping on toes, and those that need the help feel like they don't want to get the help because people may think they're crazy. We're not crazy. This is life that we're going through. I know sometimes we may seem unstable and unsettled, but that doesn't mean we're crazy. And as individuals who are trying to help somebody, we say to ourselves, sometimes we put how we feel, we project that on them and think, I don't want them to think that there's something wrong with them. Well, I can guarantee you, if you start asking someone questions and you start supporting them and encouraging them to get some help because you've seen these changes, they are going to thank you because you can save their life. So these are definitely things that we want to take to heart and be really honest with others when we see that they may be on the verge of a mental health emergency and try to prevent that from happening. And though, like I said, I spoke about educators and how they're the least likely to get this mental health assistance and this help, it's with all of us. It's all of us within the community and all those around us that it's really important that we seek this attention and get this help for ourselves and encourage those around us. My hope is to get on here and focus more on the educators and get some teachers on here with me where we can have some open dialogue and some education and things that they've experienced and things that they've seen as being part of the school system, and just to give more insight to this group of individuals who at times seem lost, that we can definitely help more by any teacher or educator that we may come in contact with in our community or church. But thank you so much for joining me. I hope this was helpful. Once again, this is The Freed Mind. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you here next time.